Peace and respect, everyone. Welcome to episode 15 of Get Buckets with Coach Gus Gauntlett and friends. We have an incredible episode. Our first international guest, good guy I met on Instagram, Coach Alex Ducasse. This man is busy everywhere in basketball in London. He is coaching the under 18s in the NBL and the Premier League, which is the top division out there. He's also teaching in secondary school at Crest Academy, and he teaches with London's Aspire program. Which is just a really dope program that he'll get into a little bit later on, which is really kind of developing that talent who are looking to get to the next step. Coach Alex, thanks for being on the show. How you doing today?
No worries, man. I'm good, thank you. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks so much for taking the time out and being down to share your knowledge. Before the show, you broke down a lot in terms of the structure of the leagues out there, which I'm really, really interested in getting into, along with your play as well. Before we get into it, I'm interested just like you could share with the people a little bit, just your journey of how you became a coach to, where you're at. I'd love to hear some of that journey.
Okay. Well, I started off playing I picked up playing quite late, actually, about the age of 14. Was one of the best players in like the borough. So we have boroughs in London. There's 33 of them. Then went to go play for a very high national league team that played in the Premier, and the coach met me for the first day and he was like, guard that guy. And that guy just beat me every single time. And I was like, wow, is this the level of competition that I need to get to? So I was always trying to compete and try and get there. I got trials for the London team as a junior, didn't make the squad. Got trials for the England team as a junior, never made the squad. As an adult, coming up into like my early adult years, so 20, I was playing quite high level D1. So it's just underneath the BBL, which is the professional league, and I tore my ACL. So I was in a bit of a place of what do I do? Where do I go next? My basketball coach from when I was a junior, my very first coach when I was 14, said he was coaching university, he can get me a scholarship. So my first year I was on the team, but I was more like helping out the coach, just doing bits and bobs, figuring out how to coach while I was studying. Second year, obviously, I played again. Third year, I played. My masters, I went into a masters. My coach had a baby, so he was like, do you want to take over the team? So I was like, okay. We did okay. We came third. It wasn't great. Then I stopped doing my masters, and the head of sport was like, do you want to coach the girls team? So I coached the girls team and we won. And I was like, I'm okay at coaching. I can give this a go. So ever since then, I've just been doing bits and pieces everywhere, learning from great coaches. I've been an assistant coach to so many different great UK coaches, and just been learning really. And I'm here where I am now. Just thankful to all of those guys.
I love it. Yeah, it's. I mean, your story is so dope, and it's just. I'm always blown away by life presents certain opportunities and makes you take sideways turns that you didn't expect. With the injury and then seeing the game from a different perspective and now developing and discovering your great skill and new talent of coaching. And it sounds like, you're going all in on it. So I'm really, thankful to have you on the show sharing that story.
No worries, man. Thank you.
Definitely. Cool. So we're going to get right into it. I definitely would love to have you drop a play for us and we can talk about it. And then this episode's going to be a little different where after you drop your play, we're going to dive into a little bit more talk about London and UK basketball. All right. So whenever you're ready, we're ready for you.
Well, like I was saying earlier, a lot of my players are one-on-one guys. So I play with a read and react, a dribble drive. But if I do need to get into something, you said if we're down 1 point with 10 seconds on the clock.
Yes, sir.
So I quite like the setup of having 4 guys outside. I don't know if you can see this right now.
Perfect.
I quite like having the setup of 4 guys outside. Let me move across so you can see. But if I have 10 seconds left on the play and I'm down 1, I'm trying to get in here. I'm trying to drive in. I'm trying to get a nice, easy bucket right inside. Like 10 seconds, we can get something inside. So what I'll probably do is set up so usually I'll set up with the guys in the corner, slot, corner, corner. If you can see. Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
But then we'll call the play and we'll move across to free throw line extended on the top of the court. What I'm trying to do is trying to get the ball into the weak side with one player on the court here, so there's no one in the corner. And then we're trying to come off this right here, off the big man, and come to the corner. From here, we're going to try and drive it to the hole. Now, if we can't get to the inside the paint and try and get a good look, we're gonna come right back out here and give a handoff. At the very same moment, big man's gonna come to the top. Once this handoff's coming here, we're gonna get a screen off the big. Big will roll to the hoop, and we're still trying to get this easy layup over here. Maybe we can get a foul, maybe we can get an and one, but we're trying to get as deep as possible into here. Now, obviously, the options will be the pass to the big man. We can get out here for the open three, but if there's only 10 seconds left, I'm really trying to get that bucket right here. I'm really just trying to score over here. So we have weak side option. We have back to the same position, which is just a jump stop, turn around, maybe one of those passes above your head. And we got this over here, skip pass over here. So we have options of this play right here, but we're trying to get deep inside.
I love it. I love it. You know, one thing, I think anytime you have that much space coming, after that handoff and then coming off the high screen from the big, just so much space going downhill with, of course, your release options out there on your weak side corner and but also you're saying possible return pass. But no doubt, I feel you. If you're down one, getting to that rack is usually, especially with the younger players, I think that's where you want to get.
Well, definitely with my under 14 and my under 18 squad, getting right into the paint, like in the UK, most times it's going to be a bucket if you have like 2 drives straight after, or if not, you're looking to get a foul. And I'm teaching these guys to get fouled and scored. You know what I mean? Get yourself to the free throw line.
Yeah. Hey, people make careers off of that, man.
This is the way forward.
I love it. And I think, oh, sorry, go ahead.
But usually, like I said, I usually play with a 4 out, 1 in for the dribble drive. And it's usually just a pass and cut. And then we have all this space right here to go and drive off that. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
And if we're feeling nice, we might initiate with a little handoff into the corner and come off here with a back screen over here. And then we have all that space over there to go into that dribble drive, read and react. So that's what I usually like to get going.
Love it. I know you've mentioned, you mentioned read and react a lot, and I'm, where I know that there's many different tribes of read and react. Where did you first come in contact with the read and react system?
To be honest, a couple of coaches were dabbling with it, and they sent me over this massive PDF. And off the top of my head, I can't remember what coach drew it up and what coach wrote it out. I have to get back to you on that. Word. To be fair, I have the PDF somewhere. But I was looking at it and I was like, this play of style matches the players who are coming into my club day in, day out. Because a lot of these UK, London players are one-on-one players. They play in the street. They get picked up about 13, 14 years old, which is quite late. All they see is going to the cut, one-on-one, hard dribble, jump stop, not even jump stop, 1-2 up in the air, and they're going. So the dribble drive, the read and react, and just teaching them, well, if the defender's facing you this way, where should you drive? If the defender's sagging off you, what do you need to be doing? Instead of telling them, just wait here for the screen's going to come, and let's move from there. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think it's teaching, intelligent basketball players that can play at any level and in multiple systems.
Yeah, there you go. I want my kids to leave my club and go anywhere and be able to play basketball, if that makes sense. I don't want them to be, well, we played for Coach Alex and this is all we did, so this is all I know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And do you find that, in your experience with coaching at different age levels, do you find that the young people are receptive to that new style of play? Like, do they feel motivated that it gives, like with read and react, you often have a lot of space. You have a lot of options to drive, pass, kick. Do they like that style? How do they react to it at first?
So with the, like I said, I coach a secondary school, so it'd be the equivalent to your high school sort of scenario. Those kids, they come in at 11 years old. I just teach them, so they're just gonna listen. But my under 18s are like the cream of the crop of like North London. So they're the cream of the crop of that area of London, and they've come from different clubs already in different schools. So when I say we're playing this, and I remember last year I had 2 players who were Lithuanian coming over from one of the Lithuanian teams in London. They didn't have an age group in our age group, so they came over and they were like, "When are you going to teach us a set? Because I can't see this working." And I was like, trust in me. And they were like, no, I'm not trusting you, because if there's, like you said, if there's 10 seconds left, what am I going to do? Drive to the hoop? And I said, trust in me. So we played a couple friendly games. And in the last friendly game, the kid who asked me that question, he goes, I trust you now, coach. I believe in
Wow.
what you're saying. Because it's just drilling them to understand that you have all this space. And when you pass and you cut and you create all this space, you have more room to just maneuver in. And you're just using the skills that you've picked up from whatever team, whatever coach, or whatever scenario you've been in, your experiences you've been in, you've just picked up, you're using all those skills instead of just being able to stand on the wing and just wait for the screen to come or wait for the coach to give you a direction. Yeah. So
Absolutely.
those kids weren't used to using their skills while thinking, whereas I wanted them now to think. And we did pretty well last season, to be fair. Didn't have a great, amazing season, but we did really, really well in my eyes.
Awesome. Awesome. And just, in general, I know that London obviously is a huge international city, and you mentioned these, kids from Lithuania who were there as well, and it sounded there was even a Lithuanian club team. So obviously, a lot of different people, coming into the London that have, recently and also have been there for a very long time. So I'm interested, what is your experience or what is your observation with the, like, how kids are getting into the game? Are the outdoor parks a popular place to play? Like, what is the basketball, in your opinion, what is the basketball culture like in London or in England as a whole, in your experience?
Well, I'm not gonna lie, it's growing, and it's growing rapidly. Like right now, with the second in secondary school, second most played team sport. So
Beautiful.
it's growing as a sport. Obviously, football, what you like to call soccer, is the main one. And I work in a secondary school, and I was walking around and I was like to the kids, "You want to play basketball?" They're like, "No, we want to play football." And I was like, "You do know that because of COVID, you're not going to be able to play any type of sport apart from basketball because I'm offering it." And they're like, "No, I'll wait for football." And that's the culture that we have right now, and that's what we're trying to get rid of. In the inner city, a load of kids play basketball, so you can go down to the courts, down to the parks, and you'll see a load of kids playing pickup games and whatnot, which is beautiful. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
But we need to get more into the younger years. So probably I think it would be like your elementary school, it'd be our primary school, so kids from the age of 5, 6, all the way up to the age of 11, they don't have any basketball in school. And if they do, it's take a ball, have fun.
Sure.
Like a lot of the kids that I'm getting now who are 11 years old are like, oh, my coach told me I can dribble with 2 hands. So that's the type of stuff that we're getting. So I'm feeling that I need to go and help out some of the primary schools around my secondary school. So the kids that are being fed into my secondary school, they already have a little bit of a knowledge of what basketball is, because they haven't got it from the age of about 4 to 11. They only
Got
really
you.
pick it up when they're a little bit older.
Yeah, and that's a big gap of time,
Yeah,
so I
massive.
appreciate your commitment to really trying to build it from the beginning all the way up. And just across Europe, I mean, obviously there's some really great leagues across Europe, with La Liga in Spain, and a lot of guys that play college ball here in America. If they don't make it to the G League or the NBA, a lot of them are heading overseas in many different places
Mhm.
across Europe. With the NBL, with the Premier League, are there ever any opportunities to play against teams from other countries or other? Yeah, like what's like the international feel for you?
So recently, and maybe the last 4 or 5 years, there's been competitions called EYBL, which is the European Youth Basketball League. So a couple London teams, I believe 3 or 4 of them, have actually gone out and played overseas. Shout out to Haringey Hawks, who did fantastic. Shout out to London Elite and London United, who went out there. They were competing very, very well over in Europe and showing them. I believe even 3 or 4 of our boys from just competing in Europe were picked up over there,
Beautiful. Beautiful,
which is
beautiful.
great.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I know, basketball, we were talking about before the show, basketball is obviously a global game, and, everyone is watching it on TV, from whatever country, whether it be, the NBA, which obviously probably has the biggest broadcast, and maybe even the college too. But I know that there's great leagues all over the world. And I know that one thing that we talked to a lot of high school players, here in the States, is that, obviously, the NBA at this point in time is the highest level of pro basketball in the world, but that doesn't mean that's where someone's career needs to be. Like,
And
you make it or break it and that's it. So I think a lot of
just
people are
look
opening
over
up.
here at the BBL. We've got so many Americans. I remember watching. Bear with me now. Wait for it. Louisville.
Yeah.
Kevin Ware.
Okay.
Was it
Oh yeah,
Kevin
yeah.
Ware
Kevin
when
Ware. Yep, for
he
sure.
broke his leg?
Yep.
He's just signed for the London Lions. He's killing it.
Wow.
He's killing it, dropping like 30 a game. Absolutely amazing. It's fun to watch him play.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, like you said, it's not the be all and end all if you don't make the NBA. Like there's other avenues, other revenues.
100%. 100%. And with the young people that you're coaching, especially like at that upper level, you at the Premier League with the under 18s, for them, are the young people thinking like, hey, are they focused on, okay, I'm doing well right now in the Premier League at the under 18s. I want to go play college ball. Like, are they on that mindset? They want to take that next step as well, and
Yeah.
be college or pro ball.
So obviously the under 18s is the Premier is the highest level that you can get for club. But then we also have school basketball, which would be like varsity, which is EABL, which is the Elite Academy Basketball League.
Okay.
And then we have ABL, which is the Academy Basketball League. So that's for 16 to 19-year-olds as well. So the guys who play for my team also go to an ABL academy, and their coach is right now liaising with me, trying to get game tapes to send out to D1 schools, D2 schools, NICs. So a lot of our kids are looking to go across to study in America, and the assistant coach over there is European. So they're looking at European clubs for those guys as well.
Beautiful.
So there's a lot of, we're trying to get a lot of links to get guys out there and just playing outside. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, and I feel like, the more that other players, especially younger players, are seeing their older peers, go off, whether it be for school on scholarship or to be paid to play professionally, that's just going to help motivate the younger generation to get more and more excited about basketball. And I know that obviously it takes some good coaching and good supporting, which it sounds like you're definitely doing at many different levels.
Just trying to help out, really, just giving back to what my coaches did for me.
No doubt. No doubt. Cool. Well, to wrap up, I always like to ask every coach, just kind of one final question about their coaching journey. So I think for you, you mentioned that you were a player. I'm interested, as a player, what kind of coaches did you respond to really well? And like, what of those characteristics do you feel like you're bringing now as a coach?
Um, like I got to bring it back to my first coach. Like he picked me up. I was a little hoodlum when I first started playing basketball. I remember I was in the park and I was missing school. Like kids don't do that. I was missing school and this guy came up and he was watching me play, and I was like, why is this guy watching me play? Like I was playing 21, pick up 21, and I
Yeah.
was whooping these guys. I was whooping them. And the coach comes up and he goes, how old are you guys? And they were like 21. I was like, I'm 13. And I realized that he was a family friend that I've never met. And he was quite caring. He used to pick me up from school. He kept me with the under 14 practice, the under 16 practice, the 18s and the men. So I watched and played all those age groups as a 13, 14-year-old. And one thing that I noticed from him was that he was just so caring. You know what I mean? He wasn't invested in me as a player. He was invested in me as a person. And that's what I give back as a coach. So that's what I want to be doing. And that's what I want basketball coaching to be like now. That makes sense.
100%, man. That's, a lot of the previous guests that we've had on have a really similar mentality, and I love hearing that. And I feel like there's really been like a paradigm shift. I feel like in the 80s and 90s, there was more of that mentality of like, the coach is going to just make you run through a wall for them and just like drill you and grill you. And that was kind of like the ideal coach. And now as time has gone on, I feel like you're seeing coaches more just thinking about life in general in the world and trying to open their players' minds up, really create that one-on-one personal relationship with each player. So I love hearing that you've been on that tip from the very start.
No worries, man.
Definitely. Coach Alex, man, we really appreciate your time. I know that London is kind of locked down right now due to COVID, but I hope that you're able to still connect with your players virtually and just keep everyone's spirits as good as they can
Boy,
be.
these virtual sessions are hard, but they're getting done. Can you imagine doing shooting in the bedrooms?
Oh man, that man, take it back to the socks, throwing it into the
There you
hamper.
go. There you go. Literally, quite literally that. Wraparounds with the sock.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I feel you, man. Well, yo, I appreciate you. Definitely want to stay in touch, man. And I'm looking forward to
100%.
you getting your squads back out on the hardwood. All right.
No worries.
All
Love
right.
and
Peace.
bro.